everyone, I'm Lauren Blair Donovan. I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a director, I'm a puppeteer, I'm an orphan. I'm all the things. Anyway, this is Good Grieve, and this is a video essay series that I do where I discuss all the dead people in my life. Well, not really. I discuss what it was like to grieve them and the stuff that I wish people knew about and the stuff that I try to vocalize so that other people who are grieving or have grieved feel seen, because it is such a misunderstood process, mostly because we don't talk about it, because we're afraid of death, which, fair enough, I kind of get that. But whether we like it or not, death is a part of life, so we should discuss it. I'm just saying. Anyway, I was kind of reminded of a grief rule that I'm not sure if I've explicitly expressed in my other videos so far, and I don't know if I necessarily have it on deck. So I want to do a quick mini video where I talk about the one rule that I kind of sort of forgot about. The reason why I was reminded about this rule is, unfortunately, on May 10th, kind of unexpectedly, my beloved border collie died. She was 15 years old, so okay, I didn't think she had 18 years left to go, but despite some dormant health issues, and I kind of emphasize dormant, she thought she was young. Everyone else thought she was young. Most people did not believe me when I said she was 15. And so when she did go downhill within the span of 24 hours, it was traumatizing. Like I said, I knew that her days were probably numbered one way or the other. But seriously, literally not even 3 days before, she was strutting around Huntington Dog Beach as if she was Pamela Anderson. She was having a grand old time. This was like a shock because of the way it went down. And it was also kind of like a whiplashy experience, because literally 10 days before, a second dog was adopted into my home. So it kind of went something like, oh my God, look at my new baby, she's so cute, to my old baby's dead now. So here's the deal though. I was pretty traumatized. I'm doing fine, but it was not a great day, the day that Lucy died. Throughout the next week, I was kind of reminded of how people don't like to talk about death. There's two types of people, besides the people that like did everything right. Y'all don't need this video, or people like you don't need this video, so whatever. But like a lot of people did two things that I think are fundamentally wrong in any circumstance, all right? And it's only because we don't know better. It's not that you guys are bad, no one's bad, but ooh, yes, this brought me back, triggered flashbacks to my parents dying, my friends dying, and all the people dying that I knew. Yeah, don't do these things. Don't do these two things. I feel like people have a tendency to either completely avoid the topic, like they know someone died or a dog died, and they don't want to talk about it, don't even want to go near it, don't even want to be in the neighborhood of it. They don't bring it up. And if you bring it up, they get real tense and they kind of bristle at the idea that you're talking about death. Then there's this other camp of people who don't really, how do I word this? They don't really make time for you or check in on you in the moment, but then the second you bump into them at the store, or you do happen to see them a few weeks later, they want to know all the gory details. They're like, okay, I'm ready. Tell me what happened. Now you might be asking, which camp is worse, right? And maybe some would think it's the people who completely deflect and want nothing to do with your trauma, tears, or feelings, experiences, all the things. Normally I would agree with that, but I almost think the former camp, the camp that kind of avoids it, is a little more earnest and a little more better intending than the, come on, I'm ready, get on my shoulder, let's cry. Because I think it's a more honest response. To be clear, I don't like either action of either camp, but yeah, I think it's a lot more honest to have a reaction to death versus try to orchestrate a moment. I think the people that try to like manufacture a dramatic moment or make it about themselves, where they're like, I'm ready to talk, here's my shoulder, let's cry. I almost think that they're kind of more like, well, insensitive about the timing, and it's different if you have work or you're on a plane or you're at a wedding and you can't talk about death because you're doing life. But like, it's another thing if you don't make the time and then down the line you're ready and you want to hear all the gory details, it's like, really? Really? Because when you do that, you're kind of making other people's trauma and personal tragedy be on your time clock, and you're kind of making it a big parade and show about you, where it's like, I'm ready to be there for you. Like, and then they ask like a million questions. That's the other part that maybe I didn't make clear. I'm all for asking questions. We're going to circle back to that in a second. But like, ooh, some people are tragedy pornographers. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but I don't mean it in the other context, so I'm gonna say it anyway. No, people love tragedy porn. Some people, not all people. But people who, or I have another video coming up that's kind of similar, and it's gonna be about emotional tourists, like emotional tourism, where people want to hear the emotions, but they're really just capitalizing on the drama of the emotions and not actually sitting with you in the hard times. There is a distinctive difference, and we'll get to that in that video. But yeah, it's pretty annoying when people, you're just having a lovely time and then people demand to know the details, or, you know, they make a big to-do about how they're ready to talk. It's like, cool, I'm ready for my tragedy to not be about you, but cool, yeah, great. It's really exhausting. These types of people tend to be like drama kings or queens, or they tend to be a little tone deaf about, or even robotic about how to help people. And again, none of us really know better. We don't know things till we know. I think that this is why I'm making this video, hopefully to get this kind of stuff out here. Us grievers can kind of feel it when you're making a show about the fact that we're grieving, and it's like about you and on your clock, and you're like giving us emotions where it's like, oh, I'm so sorry about Lucy, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I was just laughing a minute ago, I'm fine, like, glad you're ready to talk now, but like, read the room, we're okay right now. Like, we'll organically come to it. Like, or you can ask in a more normal tone and be like, so if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine, but like, how are you doing? You don't have to be like, so how are you doing about your dead dog? Don't like cheerlead a bad emotion that I don't want to match, because I don't really conduct myself that way, even if I am very sad. We can smell it. As grievers, we can smell it. Don't make it about you. Don't blow it to a thing that we're not giving permission for it to be blown up to. Let us guide. I'm not letting the other camp off the hook though. Guys, this thing I just said, you can ask, how are you doing? Do you want to talk? You can totally say that. It's an elephant in the room. And especially if I'm bringing it up, because this is what happened a few times. It was like, oh, you know, it was a crazy week last week. You know, Lucy died. People would, I don't want to talk about the dead dog. I'll get the dead dog germs by talking about it. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's like, I'm giving you permission to talk about it if I bring it up. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You're uncomfortable with the fact that my dog died. Oh, yeah. Must be nice. Imagine how uncomfortable I am with the fact that my dog died. Like, and this isn't just about dead animals, guys. Like, people either make too little of a deal of like the death of anyone, dog, human, or otherwise, and they try to avoid talking about it, you know, altogether. Even if you're trying to talk about it, they like just change the subject, which is rude. Or they make too big of a deal about it by like trying to make it this dramatic spectacle that you may or may not be giving permission to, but either way, it's kind of all about how they think they should narrate this experience and on the timing that they think that they want to do it. And it's just like, not to sound like Goldilocks, but let's meet in the middle. Like, if I'm talking about it, you need to be comfortable about it, because my trauma is not about your comfortability. I think that's all the things that we can be traumatized about in life, not just death. And I think that, you know, you can also kind of read the room, read me, and like, don't make a spectacle out of my dead dog or other sad things in my life that are happening. Like, you don't need to be a drama queen about my drama. Yeah, I feel like I've kind of covered aspects of this in other videos, but it was just so clear to me how crazy town people are. And I say that with love, I do. But yeah, it's interesting to watch people not be curious and try to change the subject because they don't want to talk about Lucy, even though Lucy was great and worth talking about. But it's also a little weird when people like practically cry to me about Lucy and are like, tell me everything that happened. I'm like, I was gonna offer it up. God, you didn't have to make it weird. And I think this is another grief rule that's also a life rule, because like I said, There's so many types of tragedies and ways we can be traumatized and have trauma. Guys, we just need to listen. We need to be present. We need to be open for people with where they're really at and try to help them through that. So let's all do better. We're all kind of in a sort of post-pandemic life, or at least we're trying to be. We've all been a little traumatized this year. Let's all just try to meet people with where they're at in life, no matter what. Dead dogs, not dead dogs, whatever the case may or may not be. Match their tones, ask questions, and be open to listening if they do want to talk, and don't be a drama queen about it. It's not too much to ask. It's really not. I love y'all. You're all great. I'm thankful for the catalyst, for the inspiration for this video, because this is a real phenomenon. People making too big or too little of a deal of things that you're going through that have nothing to do with where you're at in the moment. So thank you for that. And thank goodness, literally almost everyone, at least in terms of people that are good friends of mine, were amazing to me. Better than I would have expected. Got so many phone calls, so many people wanting to talk, wanting to listen, making time for me. One of my friends called me from a German airport. One of my friends was on the phone with me for 2 hours before bed. Multiple people were offering to come to the vet to meet me. Like, seriously, I expect this from my long distance friends who totally showed up, but as someone who's, only been in Los Angeles for 3.5 years, 1+ of them being in a pandemic, wow, so many of my LA friends more than rose to the occasion. So I cannot believe it. So that's why I'm going to end this on a happy note. This isn't even pointed at anyone in terms of the negative stuff. It was more like weird, subtle things that I would pick up on when talking to some people throughout the past month. So I just wanted to make a video about it. But ending on a positive note, some of you guys are great at helping the grieving. So thank you very much, because it's never expected. Hence, I have this Good Grief series. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope all you guys are doing great. I hope all your dogs are alive. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like Blairosaurus Rex on Instagram and Twitter. I will probably be releasing some videos of my Lucy sooner than later, because she was actually my comedy partner. She was one of my comedy partners and she killed. Another story for another time, another video for another time. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.